All right, so here we go. This is dividing fractions. So we have done 3 different ways of dividing fractions, or 3 different setups for dividing fractions. So the first one is when we see a whole number and we divide it by a unit fraction. So what we will do in this case is we're going to draw ourselves 4 holes, and then we're going to divide each hole into thirds. So here's 1, 2, 3. There's all 4 of our holes split into thirds because that's what my fraction is. So all we have to do is count up the number of pieces we have now. We have 12 pieces, so that would be our answer. Remember that when you have a whole number divided by a fraction, your answer is a whole number. Now let's move on to if we have the opposite, a unit fraction divided by a whole number. So 1/2 divided by 6. Now here, I'm going to draw my hole, but it's going to be in half because I have 1/2 divided by 6. Now here's where we're going to cut our pieces into 6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to go over our pieces. Count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, if we divide a fraction by a whole number, remember that our answer is going to be a fraction because we want to know what one piece of this is. So one section here is 1/12. That's why our answer is 1/12. Now, the way we learned yesterday was keep, change, flip. This works for any problem that we come across. So we're going to look at 1/2 divided by 6/5. And this method will even work when we are doing something like this. So here we go. So we're going to keep our first number, which happens to be 1/2. Then we're going to change our division sign into a multiplication sign, and finally we will flip our second fraction. So our second number. So our fraction is 6/5, so we're going to flip it to be 5/6. Okay, so now we have a multiplication problem, and we know that we can multiply a fraction times a fraction. We just multiply numerator times numerator, so 1 times 5, and denominator times denominator, so 2 times 6. So my answer is 5/12. It cannot be simplified. There we go. So here's another example. 10/8 divided by 1/6. So here we go. We're going to keep our first one, change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and flip the second number. So 10 times 6 and 8 times 1. Oops. So that's 60/8. Well, and I need to simplify this as an improper fraction, so I can go over here and do that. 8 can go into 67 times because 8 times 7 is 56. That leaves me with a remainder of 4. So remember that 4 is my numerator. Keep that as my denominator. And look at that, 7 and 4/8. Well, that's not quite my full answer, is it? Because it's not simplified. So I'm going to simplify by 4 because I know 4 can go into 4 and 8. So my final answer is 4 and 1. I'm sorry. My final answer is 7 and 1/2. Okay, now I think I'd like to show you one more where it's going to look like those first 2 problems we did, but we're going to do keep, change, flip with it. So I'll just go ahead and use the same exact one. So 4 and 1/3. Sorry. So 4 and 1/3. Wow. 4 divided by 1/3. Alright, so here we go. So we're going to keep our first number. That's a 4. We're going to change the division to multiplication, flip the second number. Now, do you remember when we did multiplication, we cannot multiply times a whole number? So we're going to go ahead and make our whole number into a fraction, which I know you all know how to do. Okay, it's by putting a 1 under it. So now I have 4 over 1 times 3 over 1. So it's 4 times 3 over 1 times 1. So that is 12 over 1, which equals 12 wholes, right? So let's look at that other one we had going on, which was 1/2 divided by 6. Right? Keeping our first number, changing that division sign to multiplication, and we're going to flip this number. So right now it looks like we can't flip it because it's not a fraction, but how quick is it to make it a fraction? So now we'll flip that. So instead of 6 over 1, it's going to be 1/6. So now we multiply across. 1 times 1, 2 times 6. That is 1/12. See how we had that fraction first divided by a whole number and our answer was a fraction? And here we had that whole number divided by a fraction and our answer was a whole number. So I will see you all tomorrow. Remember, your test is tomorrow afternoon. Please study up tonight.